Welcome, foolish mortals. There's no turning back now.
Welcome, foolish mortals. How's everybody's week going? I hope it's going great. I know mine is. And I hope that it just got even better because you are sitting here listening to me, whether you're in the car, at home, whether you're listening on your phone or the computer. I hope that it got a little bit better because you are listening to me talk about all things Disney. This is episode number 16 of the Disney Life Happy Wife podcast. It's the podcast where we talk about all things Disney. Traveling to Disney, to Disney parks, Disney movies, Disney shows, live Disney shows, Disney toys, Disney products, Disney music, you name it. If it's about Disney, I'm going to talk about it. I am your host, Kristen. You guys know me. If it's a Disney life, then I am a happy wife. That's right. Hence the name of the show, Disney Life Happy Wife podcast. There you go. So last week on the podcast, we talked about fast passes and about Walt Disney World, why it's so important if you can make a fast pass to have a fast pass. And I let you guys know what we did for fast passes for our upcoming Disney trip. It's getting down to the wire for our Disney trip. We have 19 days. We are officially into the teens. I told Emily that this morning. She was so excited. 19 days. It's amazing. I cannot wait. We so need this vacation. I'm so excited for it. It'll be nice to have some time, just the family away from, everything else. So it's great. We definitely need this. I cannot wait. Like I said, 19 days. 19 days. So being as excited as I am about the upcoming Disney trip, I thought for today's episode, I would talk about some of my favorite character interactions that I've had while in Walt Disney World. I love doing, character meet and greets with Emily. We do a lot of character dining at least once a day, I think, for the character interactions. That way we're not, standing in crazy lines waiting to meet princesses and characters and all of that kind of stuff. We can meet them, during our meals and everything. So I have, a whole slew of character interactions that I love, but I'm going to give you guys my top 5 today. And I know that everybody has different opinions, I guess we'll say, about about character interactions. Some people have really great interactions and some don't. I know we didn't have good ones when we first brought Emily to Disney World. She was only 10 months old, so it kind of took her a while to warm up to the characters, and she's officially warmed up to them. So we really do have some great interactions. So I thought I would talk about those today. And the ones that I'm going to talk about are in no specific order. So these are just my top 5, just the ones that I love the most, the ones that really stick out, in my brain. So with that being said, let's jump right into it. So the first character interaction that I'm going to talk about is when we saw Ariel at Cinderella's Royal Table. Now, for those of you who have never been to CRT or Cinderella's Royal Table, it's the restaurant inside Cinderella's castle in Walt Disney World. And when you are there, you walk in and you get to meet Cinderella, you get your picture taken, and then you go upstairs and you meet 4 other princesses within the course of your whole meal. And every time that we've gone there, we've only gone there a couple of times, we have met Ariel every single time that we've been there. So we're very lucky about that. Emily loves Ariel. I love Ariel. But the time that sticks out the most in my head is the last time that we went to Cinderella's Royal Table. We saw Ariel, and Emily was probably 3 years old, maybe a little under 3. And we were there in Disney celebrating her birthday, celebrating my birthday as well, because they're within a month of each other. And Ariel came over to the table, and Emily, got down out of her chair and went over to her and just hugged her. And Ariel got down to Emily's level, which was great. She was pretty much sitting on the floor. And Em went up to her and just hugged her and just was loving Ariel. And Ariel's heart just melted. And it was the cutest thing in the whole world. And she's sitting there talking with Emily, and it was so darn cute. And Emily could have sat there with her forever. And Ariel looked at Em and she's like, there are other kids here that I'm going to go talk to, but when I'm done talking to them, I'm going to come right back to you, okay? And Em was so excited. And I thought, that's so sweet that she would say that. There's no way she's going to remember Em when she just, she started kind of her rotation around the room with Emily. So I thought there's no way she's going to remember. So, we keep going with our meal and everything. And lo and behold, Ariel comes back. She comes right back to us. Em jumps out of her chair and runs right over to her. And Ariel is, again, on Em's level, pretty much sitting on the floor with her. And Emily is in her lap. She's pretty much in Ariel's lap, curling up in Ariel's lap. And it was pretty close to what was Em's nap time at that point. And you could tell she was getting sleepy. So I think if Ariel had let her, Em would have curled up on Ariel's lap and fallen asleep completely. And she was so gracious and so wonderful. And she just made pretty much the whole trip for us right then and there. My husband and I were just amazed. We have pictures. I'm pretty sure my husband has a video of this. I'll have to put them up on my Instagram so you guys can see just how amazing she was. And she loved Emily, and Emily loved her. It was so wonderful. We told everybody we possibly could how amazing she was. And it's no wonder that interaction, I know I said that this list is not in any specific order, but that interaction is my favorite interaction that we have ever had with a princess or a character in Walt Disney World. So, I mean, can you really beat that? Can you really beat how amazing she was with Emily? So next on the list, number 2, is also Ariel. Now, we've met Ariel as Princess Ariel. She's in her beautiful sea blue dress. And we have also met Mermaid Ariel. And I love meeting Mermaid Ariel. Ariel, again, is my favorite princess. So I love whenever we get to meet her. And one time we saw her in her grotto over in Magic Kingdom, and she said to me, she's like, your mommy, look at her. She's got red hair. She must be part mermaid. And Emily immediately screams no. My husband and I are just cracking up laughing. And I was like, oh yeah, definitely part mermaid. And we're laughing, and Emily was like horrified that I was part mermaid and she wasn't. And I'm like, Em, it's because I have red hair. And for those of you who have never seen a picture of me, if you've been on my Instagram, you've seen, my logo picture, it shows up with the podcast. I have my red hair in that picture. I've been getting my hair dyed red for quite some time, and I always get it fresh red whenever we go to Disney. I am this month too. So anyway, she commented on that, and it was so funny. But Emily also asked her a burning question. Now, Emily saw Little Mermaid 2, probably right before we had gone on that trip. And she had asked me, she said, Mommy, where's Melody? For those of you who have never seen The Little Mermaid 2, it deals with Ariel and Eric's daughter, Melody. And she's a cute little girl with black hair, just like her daddy. And it's all about, Melody not knowing about the mermaid life and, her mother's past and all of that. And they talk a lot about that through the movie. So Em had just seen that before the trip. So when we met Ariel, she had the burning question, where's Melody? So she was nervous. And I said, Em, don't be nervous. Just ask her. Just ask her what's on your mind. So she goes up to Ariel and she says, Ariel, where's Melody? And without skipping a beat, which is one of the reasons I love Disney World so much. Without skipping a beat, Ariel says, oh, she's at home with Prince Eric. They're taking care of Max, and she's doing her schoolwork and all of that. So immediately she knew, what Em was talking about. She knew, about her daughter Melody, and she told Emily, she said, this is where she is. I thought that was absolutely brilliant. So kudos to the details that these people have. It's just amazing. So I can't wait to see, the other questions that Em will have for for the characters that she meets. I know, kind of a sidebar here, I know that Em has been wanting to ask Tinkerbell about her fairy friends for a while because we are such big fans of the fairy movies. I know that Em has been dying to ask her about Rosetta and all her other fairy friends. So we'll see if she actually asks Tink that this time, or if I end up asking her. We have lots of questions for the princesses this time. So anyway, so number 3 on my list, not a princess, but a stepsister to a princess. One of the best meals I think that we have ever had in Walt Disney World is pretty much any meal we have ever had at 1900 Park Fair. 1900 Park Fair is a restaurant in the Grand Floridian Hotel. Grand Floridian houses, a ton of restaurants, and they're all amazing. I don't think we've ever had a bad meal at the Grand Floridian. But 1900 Park Fair is by far the best buffet we have ever had. And the character interactions there, and it's just the best. So we have been lucky enough to have dinner there. And when you have dinner at 1900 Park Fair, you meet characters from Cinderella. You meet Cinderella and the Prince. You meet Lady Tremaine and Cinderella's stepsisters, Anastasia and Drizella. Now, if you have never met Cinderella's stepsisters, you are missing out. On the last time that we were there, that we had dinner, we had the chance to meet these lovely ladies, and Em was a little nervous. She didn't know if Lady Tremaine and the stepsisters would be nice or if they would be mean, because technically they're, I'm doing air quotes, they're villains. So she wasn't sure, and she was hesitant about it, but I said, they're not going to be mean to you, Emily. How could they possibly be mean to the cutest little girl in the whole world? How could they be mean to you? So I assured her they wouldn't be mean, and they weren't. But Anastasia and Drizella. So when you walk into 1900 Park Fair, there's a big room where their buffet is, and then there's another smaller room attached to that. We were in the smaller room, and we were lucky enough to have Lady Tremaine, Anastasia, and Drizella all in the room at the same time. And Anastasia, the redhead, was at our table, and she just cracks me up. She was just so funny. And she and Drizella, who is on the opposite side of the room, of that little room, are yelling back and forth at each other. So-and-so at the table that Drizella was at says, "I'm the best." And so-and-so, says, "I'm the best." And, Lady Tremaine, they would look at her and she would try and shush them. And it was so funny. And Anastasia, she gets her picture taken with Emily, and she asks Emily, she's like, "Do you have any sisters?" And Emily tells her no. And she's like, "Oh, well, you're lucky you don't have any sisters." And I say to her, because I have a twin sister, I say to her, "Oh," I was like, "Well, I feel your pain. I have a twin sister." And she says, "Oh." She's like, "Well, you must be the good one because you have red hair." And we cracked up. The two of them, they were just so funny. If you have never had the opportunity to go to 1900 Park Fair for dinner, definitely do it. Just the character interactions itself is so worth it. They are hilarious. I'm going to have to post the video that I took of them on my Instagram so you guys can see it. Tons of pictures and stuff on the Instagram this week. So definitely go check them out. I know that they will sometimes be around the parks as well. There's usually a station for them on the backside of Cinderella's castle. So you can usually meet them there as well. So I'm sure they're just as funny there as they are at 1900 Park Fair. They are just way too funny. If you have not met them, definitely do it. And if you have little ones that are hesitant about it, just let them know that they're not scary and they're not mean. They are hilarious. So definitely meet Anastasia and Drizella. So number 4 on our list, on my list, is not a princess, just like the last one. It is Piglet from Winnie the Pooh. I love Winnie the Pooh. I've been a fan of Winnie the Pooh for quite a long time. My favorite has always been Tigger, with my second favorite being the man himself, Winnie the Pooh. And Em has always loved Winnie the Pooh, but she has a very special place in her heart for Piglet. She loves Piglet, and Piglet. So the last time we were at Crystal Palace, which is in the Magic Kingdom, it's a restaurant. Again, a restaurant with character interactions and character meets. And at Crystal Palace, you have the characters from Winnie the Pooh walking around. So you have Winnie the Pooh, Piglet, Tigger, and Eeyore. And they're amazing. And Emily at first was, the first times we had gone was nervous. First character she ever smiled at was Winnie the Pooh. But the last time that we went, maybe not the last time, maybe it was the time before, that we went, we met, we went to Crystal Palace and Emily saw the characters, and the very first character she ever hugged, she wasn't scared of and wasn't nervous of, was Piglet. And Piglet is smaller than, Winnie the Pooh and Tigger and Eeyore. So I think that might have helped, but, he was the first one that she ever hugged. So the last time we were there, I said to Piglet, "Oh, Piglet, we love meeting you. You are one of Emily's favorites." And of course, Piglet hugs Emily a little bit tighter for that. And I said to him, she has always been really scared of meeting the different characters around Walt Disney World. And you are the first character she has ever openly and on her own willingly hugged. And Piglet immediately throws his hands up to his mouth as if to say, "Oh my goodness," like in excitement, like jumping up and down, like so excited that Piglet was the first one that Emily ever hugged, and hugged her even tighter after that. It was so cute. And the characters at Crystal Palace are just wonderful. I mean, they're Winnie the Pooh characters, for crying out loud. But Piglet will always hold a very special place in my heart because it was the first character that Emily sincerely hugged and was not afraid of. So I know that sounds strange because who's afraid of Mickey Mouse, really? But Piglet was the first one, so Piglet will always have a very, very, very special place in my heart. So that being said, let's jump to number 5. Number 5, we were lucky enough to go to Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party on one of our last trips when we went in November. And we have made it a goal to go to both, big parties. We went to the Halloween party. That was Emily's first trip. We're hopefully going to go back at some point so she can really experience that as a kid. And we were able to go to the Christmas party, which is great. They have different, themed foods around Magic Kingdom. They have special character meet and greets, Moana and Jack Skellington dressed up as Santa Claus or Sandy Claus. And they have, just some great activities and all that kind of stuff, theming to different rides and all of that. So it's wonderful. And one of the things that you get to do, or that you get to, the characters that you get to meet when you're meeting princesses, if they have a prince, you get to meet their prince as well. We met tons of them. We met Tiana and Naveen, who we met before on the riverboat ice cream party that they used to have. We met, Cinderella and Prince Charming. We met Ariel and Eric together. We met Rapunzel and Flynn Rider. And that's the one that I want to talk about the most right now. Rapunzel and Flynn Rider. You can meet them. They're kind of separated, but you can meet them also at Trattoria Al Forno on the boardwalk. But at this party, we got to meet the two of them together. So you have the interaction of the two of them together. And Emily has always been hesitant with characters. So she's always been fine with princesses. And she has now become completely fine with the other characters, Mickey and Pooh and stuff like that. But she is still very hesitant of the Disney princes. And I think it's because they're men. That she's, hesitant of them. Why? I don't know. But she has always been a little, if she's going to get her picture taken with a prince, she wants mommy to be in the picture, which, I have no problem with. And this time, she's meeting Flynn and Rapunzel, and she goes up to them, and Rapunzel gets down on M's level, and she gives Em a big hug, and they're talking, and they're talking to her and all of that, and Flynn wants a hug, and he's standing there with his arms wide open, and she's giving him this look like, no, you do not get a hug, Flynn Rider. And it was very cute, and you could tell that she was just nervous because she doesn't know him. She knows that it's Flynn Rider, but at the same time. So, and I think Rapunzel could tell that she wanted to give him a hug, but she was hesitant about it. Like she would have done it if I was with her. So Rapunzel says to Emily, she says, hey, how about we have a group hug? And before Emily can say no, Flynn dives in there and hugs the two of them. And it is by far one of my favorite Disney pictures we have ever taken or ever had taken of Emily, as her being hugged by Rapunzel and Flynn, because it's such a genuine hug, and you knew he was so excited. And he was so happy that she let him hug her. So it was really great. And I absolutely loved it. I thought it was so cute. And my husband and I were just beside ourselves, so excited about it. And I thought that was very cute. So he was great. Every time we have ever met Flynn, he's been wonderful. He's always tried to get Em to open up, between showing her Rapunzel's tiara that he has or talking to her. He gets down on her level. He's always been wonderful. And I loved that they had this moment, that she had this moment with the two of them together. So it's absolutely great. Now, some people out there might be like, oh, well, she didn't consent to that and she didn't want to hug him. I thought it was great. And I thought it was really cute. She's, 3 years old, I think, at the time. And I thought it was adorable. As her mother, I was like, it's fine. Go ahead, hug her. And it's not like she was bawling her eyes out because he did it. It was very cute. It was very sweet. She smiled at him after. So there it is. Meeting Rapunzel and Flynn Rider is number 5 on the list. So that's my top 5. Wow, this was pretty quick. So number 1 was meeting Ariel at Cinderella's royal table, where Em pretty much curled up into her lap. It was amazing. Number 2 was meeting Mermaid Ariel and her saying that I'm half mermaid or part mermaid because of my red hair, and her answering Em's questions about melody. Number 3 was meeting Anastasia and Drizella at 1900 Park Fair, and Anastasia saying that I was the good sister because of my red hair. Number 4 was meeting Piglet at Crystal Palace and being able to tell Piglet what an impact Piglet has had on Emily and how he was the first character that she ever really hugged, and Piglet being so excited about it. And number 5, meeting Rapunzel and Flynn Rider at the Christmas party and the group hug that they gave Em. It was great. So that's it. There's tons more, that we have, and I'm excited to meet more and more characters now that Emily's not afraid. I guess I'll throw a little 6th one in there. Last time we were there, we got to meet Olaf, and she was so excited to meet Olaf. I've never seen her that excited to meet someone who isn't a princess. And he was hiding. When we walked in, we go to walk into the room where he is, and he jumped out at her. And at first she got scared, and then she was like, Olaf! And she goes running up to him, and she takes his hand, and she walks with him, and she booped his carrot nose, and it was really cute. So yeah. Okay, so that's 6. So that's my top 6. Number 6, and meeting Olaf. It was great. We're definitely going to see him again. So that's it. So it was a quick show today, but I also want to talk a little bit about what's to come in the early new decade and the early, 2020. I didn't talk much about it last week. It was a longer episode. And so what you're going to see or hear, really, I should say, in the podcast, for probably the next couple months, the next month or so, we can talk a lot about Walt Disney World. I'm super excited for our trip, like I said a little while ago. Super, super excited. 19 days. So I think, for the next couple of weeks, and while I'm there, I'm going to talk mainly just about Walt Disney World. Whether I'm talking about, things for traveling there, what I would pack for Emily for the plane, or what my packing list is and that kind of stuff. Or I'm talking about Walt Disney World itself, talking about restaurants and rides and things to do and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to focus a lot on Walt Disney World coming up to the trip. And then while I am on vacation, because the earbuds did work out so well and I was able to use them to record, I am going to talk about, I'm going to do some shorty episodes while I'm there. Instead of having a full-length episode on the Wednesday that I'm there, and the day that I come home, I am going to do some shorty episodes here and there if we get back to the room early enough and all that kind of stuff. So I can let you guys know, what we're thinking about while we're there and what we've done and what we thought was really great and all that kind of stuff. What we liked, what we didn't like, everything. So you'll hear from me and you'll hear from Emily and you'll get to hear from my husband for the first time. And once we get back, so in probably like 2 weeks, I think it is, maybe a little less than 2 weeks, my sister and her boyfriend and his family are going on a Disney cruise. So once I get back from my Walt Disney World trip, I am going to be getting together for my first, I guess, real guest spot besides, Emily and my husband. I'm going to be getting together with my friend Kaylee. That's my sister's boyfriend's sister. She's become, a friend too. Kaylee and I are going to be getting together and we're going to be talking about the Disney cruise. I've never been on one, so I want to hear all about it. I want to hear the pros and cons. I want to hear what she liked and didn't like. What she would recommend, for the next time she goes or for the first time, Disney goer. What she saw, what she thought. I want to hear all about it. So we're going to be getting together and chatting about that. And, after the trip, we'll talk about that and then we'll get started with all other Disney stuff that's going on. So that is it, folks. That's it for this episode number 16, talking about Disney interactions and letting you know what you have to look forward to in the upcoming months. So yeah, that's it. All right. So follow me on social media. I'm on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. Facebook and Instagram is at Disney Life Happy Wife Podcast, all one word. It's long, but at Disney Life Happy Wife Podcast. Twitter is at DLHW Podcast. That is also my brand new email, is dlhwpodcast@gmail.com. So if you have any comments or questions, if there's a topic you want me to talk about on the podcast, send me an email, DM me on social media. Let me know what you think. And, obviously you're listening, but if you want another place to listen, if you're like, yeah, I want to switch it up, different app, different place, listen to me on my blog, The Many Sides of Mom, manysidesofmom.com is the address. So the blog, Buzzsprout, Spotify, Apple, iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and Pandora. So that's where you can listen. So go listen, subscribe to the podcast, write me a review. I would love to read more reviews on the podcast. So as many as I can get, I would love to talk about it. So that's it. Follow, listen, shoot me an email. Let me know what you thought about today's episode and what you want to hear more of. And I will gladly do so. So thank you so much. I can't say it enough. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen to me talk about Disney. It's one of my biggest passions and one of my biggest loves. So I'm so excited that I get to talk about Disney with you guys. So thank you for taking the time to listen. So I will see you guys